Here we are, back again with another ranking. It's been a while since my last one, and for good reason. High school really takes a lot of time away. Despite that, let's get into it. If you know me personally, then you know one of my favorite bands of all time is Thousand Foot Krutch, hereby abbreviated to TFK from here on out. Anyway, their genre, if you wish to know, it's mainly hard rock and metal, with some bits of alt rock in there. I would do their songs, but that's like 108, so I'll only do the albums right now. Now, some rules first. First, no EPs or live shows, just because they have music from other albums, so it would just be redundant. Second, Shutterbug will be excluded, as that was an album before they got their current name, and That's What People Do will also be excluded, due to it not only being hard to find, but a large portion was transferred to Set It Off. Third, any albums with addendums, like Welcome to the Masquerade Fan Edition, will be counted with their initial album. Lastly, this is all my opinion. So, before I get to the ranking, I need to get this point straight. At this moment, there are only 8 albums, excluding Shutterbug and That's What People Do. The most recent album is Exhale, back in 2016. As of right now, there is no news of an album just yet. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Number 8 is Set It Off. Oh boy, I can hear the backlash coming from a mile away. Allow me to explain myself. The first album in the chronology I'm including is the first on this list. It is also the last one I actually listened to. Wow. Either way, if you know me, I'm not all into rap music. This album really didn't age well in my eyes. It sounds like one of those cringy rap battles you see on TV. You know the ones. I'm sure you do. So automatically, that brings this album down a few notches. This is also the longest album they have ever produced, with a total of 18 songs, over 72 minutes of this stuff. I won't call it crap, since it is well assembled. Now, I can find positives in all these albums, don't worry. Everyone Like Me, Small Town, Lift It, and When in Doubt are pretty good, and hold back on the rap for the most part. But for the most part, if you enjoy rap music, check this one out. It might be more your style than it was for mine. Let's get the obvious one out of the way now. Number 7 is Exhale. Exhale, released in 2016, is subject to critically mixed reviews, something Wikipedia wants to disagree with. And I have to agree with their mixed reviews. This is the third album I listened to, actually. A lot of the songs, I hate to say it, either bad or just boring. Let's go to the positives. Give Up the Ghost, Incomplete, and Honest are pretty good, definitely up there. Lifeline is pretty decent, not quite as good as them. Running with Giants and Born Again are decent. The rest are pretty much fluff. A lot of songs like The River, Adrenaline, and Can't Stop This are very rap-heavy, which, although it is the origin of the band's first couple albums, I just can't get behind it. All the other albums had very few songs I disliked. This one, over half of them. Let's hope this doesn't become the norm from here on out. Number 6, The Art of Breaking. The 6th album I listened to out of these is 6 on the list. Weird coincidence. I'm not sure how others feel about this album, but to me, a lot of it's just lackluster. Sorry to say for those OG fans. So, the positives. Absolute, Slow Bleed, Hand Grenade, and Make Me a Believer are pretty good. Hit the Floor and Breathe You In are decent. The rest, which isn't as much so as Exhale, is pretty lackluster. It's kind of boring for the rest. A few of these songs are pretty rap-heavy, which, again, I can't get behind. Exhale and The Art of Breaking are pretty interchangeable, but I think The Art of Breaking is just a little bit better. This may be a result of the young band at this time, but I don't know. Being between two fantastic albums, Phenomenon and The Flame in All of Us may not be too good for it. Oh well. Well, here we are. Number 5 is The End Is Where We Begin. The first album I listened to this from this band. This was TFK's first indie album, actually, since Set It Off in 2000. Them going indie actually really shows. A lot of the songs are a bit different than what they do for Tooth and Nail, but when we look at previous albums, this is when we start to get out of the boring category, now shifting to the kind of good category. So, positives. Be Somebody, Let the Sparks Fly, We Are, and Courtesy Call are pretty good. War of Change, the titular The End Is Where We Begin, and So Far Gone are pretty decent. This album is definitely less rap-heavy than the previous 3 on the list, so that gives it a bit of an edge. However, there's a lot of heavy metal in this album, so I don't really like the songs like Light Up the Sky, Down, and I Get Wicked. Yeah, I listen to a new metal band, but I don't like the more intense stuff. That definitely makes sense. Either way, this is a kind of good album, and I would recommend the songs I recommended. The last of the indie albums, and the second I listened to, Oxygen Inhale from 2014 is definitely the one that is the most controversial among fans, but I really like it. See? We've already gotten into the good territory. So why is it so panned? As I said earlier, TFK is a rock and metal band. This album focuses on alt-rock and more soulful stuff for most of it. Trevor McNevin, the lead singer of TFK, even acknowledged that this album would be more light and soulful. There's a reasoning, however. Oxygen Inhale was the first part of a two-part series of albums, with Exhale being the other half. A more light album, symbolizing like bottling up and taking stuff in, and a happier album, symbolizing letting that out. Regardless, now it's time to get into the actual content. Light Up and In My Room were fantastic. I See Red and Untraveled Road were pretty good. Oxygen was decent. Set Me on Fire, Born This Way, and Glow were pretty lackluster, but that's maybe a third of this album. Not bad, Oxygen Inhale. Not bad. I really like the sound Phenomenon brings. It does have a few heavy elements and a few rap elements, but they aren't too saturated and work for the songs they're in. The titular Phenomenon, Rock Fist, This Is a Call, and New Design are freaking fantastic. Step to Me, Last Words, Faith, Love, and Happiness, and Break the Silence are pretty good. Quicken is pretty decent. I only disliked 3 songs out of a 12-song album. Bounce, I Climb, and Ordinary are alright. Not good, but not bad. Definitely a huge step up from Set It Off back in 2000. The order I listened to them in kind of left a bad taste in my mouth because of Set It Off being directly after it. Oh well. Well, we made it. The second album on this list is The Flamin' All of Us. My second favorite, 2007's The Flamin' All of Us, fires on all cylinders. Get it? Get it? I'll shut up now. Regardless, The Flamin' All of Us certainly ignites a fire inside those who listen. What I'm trying to say, for those who don't get it, this album gets you pumped. The slightly heavier vibe, combined with some tasty guitar riffs, make you feel like you can do anything. Now to the songs. The titular The Flamin' All of Us, Falls Apart, What Do We Know, and Wish You Well are fan-frickin-tastic. My Home, Learn to Breathe, and the last song were pretty good. The rest, they're pretty decent. TFK has certainly outdone themselves for this album. I can't stop gushing. So, before we get into number 1, I want to give you all a quick recap. Number 8, Set It Off. Number 7, Exhale. Number 6, The Art of Breaking. Number 5, The End Is Where We Begin. Number 4, Oxygen Inhale. Number 3, Phenomenon. Number 2, The Flamin' All of Us. And for number 1 combines all elements from other albums. It has stuff for metal fans, stuff for hard rockers like myself, and even stuff for the alt-rock lovers. So what is number 1, you may be asking? Well, if you're a fan of TFK, you know it. You know it, I know it, all the TFK fans know it. Number 1 is Welcome to the Masquerade from 2009. Sorry for the obvious choice here, but it needed to be number 1. It just has to. So what's good about this album? Almost everything. It channels the heaviness of albums like The Flamin' All of Us and Exhale. It channels the soulfulness of Oxygen Inhale to make the wonderful album that remains heavy yet still very soulful, if that makes any sense. These songs, while on the heavier side for the most part, are really frickin' good. The titular Welcome to the Masquerade, E for Extinction, Forward Motion, Smackdown, Already Home, and Take It Out on Me are fan-frickin-tastic if I can't get that message across. Bring Me to Life, Watching Over Me, Scream, Look Away, Shook, and Anyone Else are still great. That leaves 3 songs. Fired Up, The Part That Hurts the Most Is Me, and Out of Control are pretty decent. I can't even explain the feelings this album puts in me. You just need to listen to this to see. So, overall, I'd recommend listening to all of these albums. Set It Off and The Art of Breaking are for the rap fans. Exhale, Phenomenon, and The Flamin' All of Us are for the heavier metal fans. Oxygen Inhale is for those alt-rock fans. The End Is Where We Begin and Welcome to the Masquerade have elements of all 3. Just go listen to TFK if you want to. They're really good in my eyes. If I could recommend one song from each album, I'd go with Lift It from Set It Off. This Is a Call from Phenomenon, Slow Bleed from The Art of Breaking, What Do We Know from The Flamin' All of Us, Forward Motion from Welcome to the Masquerade, Be Somebody from The End Is Where We Begin, Light Up from Oxygen Inhale, and Honest from Exhale. You'll just have to listen to see your own opinions. Until next time, peace!